The golden period, 5 weeks that decide your recovery after ovarian cancer surgery. Ovarian cancer surgery is done, you are back home, everyone says have some rest. But from this very moment begins the most crucial 5 weeks of your treatment. Get this wrong and everything that follows can stumble halfway. Over 26 years in gynecological cancer care, I have operated on many ovarian cancer patients and watched their recoveries very closely. Surgery may go well, but without this proper care in these 5 weeks, nutrition breaks down and the consequences appear later, especially during chemotherapy. This guide blends my clinical experience with international researches. We cover 5 things: why these 5 weeks matter, 4 core nutrition principles, why diet charts usually fail, 12 real challenges you will face at home every day, with solutions of course, and 4 special cases to be aware of. Why this is the golden period? Even before diagnosis, before you knew anything was wrong, around 70 out of 100 ovarian cancer patients already have significant nutritional deficiency, a condition called sarcopenia. On the outside, patients looks fine and intelligent. Underneath, muscle strength has quietly declined. This is not guesswork. It comes from international Cochrane reviews. Some of the highest quality medical evidences available out there, and yet patients and families often struggle to believe it. Surgery adds further stress to a body already deficit. Now you have 5 weeks to rebuild. The disease is out of the body. There is no immediate rush for chemotherapy. This is your time, valuable but limited. In these 5 weeks, you will eat roughly 100 to 110 major meals. Each one is an opportunity to repair, to restore, to prepare. So the real question is, what should those 100 meals look like? 4 core principles you need to know. Principle 1, high quality protein at every meal. After surgery, the body repairs itself using protein. Without it, wounds heal slowly, muscles weaken, and immunity drops. Principle number 2, enough calories. Protein alone is not enough. Without energy, protein gets burned as fuel rather than used for repair. Principle 3, soluble fibers and plenty of fluids. Constipation is a major enemy around this time. Once it starts, appetite falls, bloating increases, nausea creeps in, and nutrition unravels. Principle 4, gentle physical activity. This is part of nutrition too. Without movement, appetite fades, digestion slows, mood dips, and eating suffers majorly. Nutrition never lives on the plate alone. Why diet charts usually fail? You need to know this. Cancer dietitians craft textbook perfect diet charts. The problem? The patient takes one look and wants nothing from that chart on her plate. My advice: take an aggressive approach from day 1. You will almost certainly find the patient wants to eat everything except protein. Foods they love but are protein poor, either drop them or allow them just once or twice a week as a treat. Ask your patients directly, out of all the high quality protein and high energy foods available, which ones do you actually enjoy? Write that patient approved list down. This must be on a paper. How long the list should be? In my opinion, you need at least 25 to 30 main meal ideas. High protein, high energy, and of course patient approved. Plus around 40 small snack ideas. On paper, actually written. Without this list, every morning begins with the same question: what shall I eat? And whatever is nearest gets cooked. That is how dangerous makeshift eating begins. Also remember, your patient cannot manage large portions right now. Food must be broken up and offered in 6 to 8 times daily in small portions so that they can eat and digest it properly with time. For guidance on timing protein through the day and why appetite tends to drop in the evening, do read my article on gynecological cancer nutrition. Next, 12 real challenges and what to do about them. Drawn from 26 years of clinical experience and real patient accounts, these are the most common hurdles you may face every day. And of course, with them, they are practical solutions. Challenge number 1, severe loss of appetite. Strong aversion to food, feeling full after a few bites, driven by antibiotic, reduced physical movement, and emotional stress. Here, increase physical activities to the level surgeons have cleared. Bring back hobbies and daily joy. Emotional well-being and nutrition are more closely linked to the diet than most people realizes. Challenge number 2, nausea and feeling sick. Check 3 things first: bowel movements, medication side effects, and unspoken anxiety. If fully constipated or obstructed, contact the doctor immediately. Rest usually resolves. In the first 6 weeks post-surgery, anti-nausea medications like ondansetron often underperform. Prokinetic medications tend to work better. Ask the doctor and ensure the food on offer genuinely appeals to the taste of the patient. Challenge number 3, bloating. 2 questions to ask: is this with all foods or only with specific foods? If specific, remove them and choose something else from your written list. Next, is this all day or mainly in the evening? Evening bloating usually means protein is being eaten too late of the day. Load all the protein earlier in the day. Start with an early, protein-rich, really hearty breakfast. Challenge 4, constipation. The most important challenge on this list. It slows eating, causes bloating and nausea, drains energy, and seriously disrupts appetite. Check the discharge paperwork for a stool softening prescription before leaving your hospital. 1 bowel movement per day is not enough. You are aiming for 2 to 3 soft ones daily. You need soluble fiber in diet, adequate fluids, as much long walking as possible, and medication if the doctor recommends it. All 4 together, not one of them. Diarrhea or urgency. This may follow antibiotics or result from a particular section of bowel being removed during surgery. Ovarian cancer sometimes requires bowel surgery. The intestine is several meters long. Losing a small section causes temporary disruption that usually resolves within a few weeks. Probiotics may help. Mention it to the doctor. However, you must not stop eating out in fear. No test or a metallic test. This is called dysphagia. Swap metal cutleries for ceramic or PP5 PPF free plastic. Try slightly sour foods. A light chutney or mild spices, fresh ginger, mint, coriander paste, or lemon. Serve food slightly cooler rather than hot. Importantly, this metallic test is not a sign of cancer returning. It is a medication side effect that usually fades with time. Challenge number 7. Only able to manage soft or pureed food. Soft food is entirely fine. Just ensure it contains enough protein and soluble fiber. Without these 2 components, the constipation follows and recovery will slow down significantly. Challenge number 8. 3 consecutive days without adequate nutrition. Please do not wait. Contact the doctor promptly. The underlying cause must be found. Left unaddressed, recovery becomes significantly harder. Challenge number 9. Not drinking enough fluid. At least 3 liters of fluid per day are needed after surgery. Each morning, fill 3 1-liter bottles, the simplest way to track daily intake. Add a slice of cucumber or lemon to make plain water more appealing. Lassi and light sherbets count too. Challenge number 10. Exhaustion makes cooking feel impossible. A reliable carer, family or friend is essential for shopping, cooking and planning. Cooking can be delegated. Shopping can be planned by someone else. That's all fine. However, patient's physical movements should never be compromised. If it does, malnutrition follows quickly. If the patient genuinely cannot get out of bed, report this to surgical team immediately. Challenge number 11. Will eating more feed the cancer? This fear is real, and international research confirms how widespread the fear of this type can be. It can quietly cause patients to stop eating altogether. After Yoshinori Oshumi won Nobel Prize for his work on autophagy, social media filled with misinterpretations of his research suggesting that starvation kills cancer. Patients then undereat after surgery and become seriously ill as a result. Intentional weight loss during active cancer treatment is not a good idea. This has been studied extensively. If this doubt arises, please ask the doctor directly rather than acting on it. Challenge number 12. Questions being thought but not asked. Body image, anxiety, fear of sudden menopause. Will the cancer come back? These cannot be brushed aside with a cheerful, "Oh, everything will be fine." Write her questions down and bring that list to the next appointment to the doctor to discuss. Every unspoken question a patient carries affects her quality of life, and unanswered, these thoughts can quietly trigger loss of appetite and nausea to return. Next, 4 special warnings. 4 situations where maintaining nutrition becomes significantly more challenging. Warning number 1. Platinum-resistant diseases. If your doctor raises this concern, stay in close contact with your doctor throughout these 5 weeks. More check-ins, more vigilance. Warning number 2. Uncertainty about whether chemotherapy is needed. Globally, 85 to 90% of ovarian cancer patients require chemotherapy, and that decision follows international guidelines. Changing your doctor does not change the guidelines. Jumping between doctors out of anxiety within this 5 weeks time squanders your 5-week nutrition window. Do not do that, please. Warning number 3. If you had HIPEC. HIPEC combines surgery with heated chemo directly to the abdomen. Its role during initial ovarian cancer surgery is still debated. Investigational research is ongoing. Recovery from HIPEC is considerably slower. You are dealing with surgical healing and chemotherapy effects simultaneously, and nutrition can slip away during that golden window. This requires a completely separate nutrition plan. Ensure you receive specific guidance from your surgeon after you have HIPEC but before leaving the hospital. Warning number 4. Stoma care. Ovarian cancer commonly involves bowel. Sometimes a temporary or permanent stoma or potty passage needs to be created to clear the disease. A stoma requires a special diet. Stoma are usually of 2 types: colon stoma or small bowel stoma. Now, in colon stoma, that means normal output stoma, avoiding constipation is critical. Seek dietary advice from a stoma care nurse. Even if you need to empty the bag frequently, avoiding constipation by all means will be absolutely essential. Protein-rich foods with soluble fibers and plenty of water are your allies. Next, small bowel stoma, the high output ones. Output is higher, so additional nutritional support is needed for small bowel stoma. Follow your doctor's guidance closely. Remember this, for these 5 weeks, your body has just one single job: to heal. Your job is to let it. Every meal is a step forward. Protein, calories, fiber, water, and movement. Get these 5 things right together, and your body can take that step. Both patients and her carer need to read this article. In these 5 weeks, the role of the carer is every bit as important as the patient's and her doctor's role. Coming home after surgery does not mean treatment is over. It means the time is now yours. Do not waste this golden window. See you soon with another research article.